other way. I know you long for something new, so that you're wasting all your days looking for something that is right in front of you. And I just want them to notice you. And I'll never let go of you. There's something flying in the air.
I was just having a debate with a friend of mine, and we got stuck on the difference between fault and responsibility. She kept talking about how something was somebody's fault, it's somebody's fault. And I was like, it don't matter whose fault it is that something is broken if it's your responsibility to fix it. For example, it's not somebody's fault if their father was an abusive alcoholic, but it's for damn sure their responsibility to figure out how they're gonna deal with those traumas and try to make a life out of it. It's not your fault if your partner cheated and ruined your marriage, but it is for damn sure your responsibility to figure out how to take that pain and how to overcome that and build a happy life for yourself. Fault and responsibility do not go together. It sucks, but they don't. When something is somebody's fault, we want them to suffer. We want them punished. We want them to pay. We want it to be their responsibility to fix it, but that's not how it works, especially when it's your heart. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone. As long as we're pointing the finger and stuck in whose fault something is, we're jammed and trapped into victim mode. When you're in victim mode, you are stuck in suffering. The road to power is in taking responsibility. Your heart, your life, your happiness is your responsibility and your responsibility alone.
So I recently made a post, and the question I posed was, getting over someone you love is simply just a matter of time, right? But how do you get that person out of your mind? Because believe me, it's two completely different things. Completely. I don't think you have to be bipolar to experience this. I just think it depends on the intensity of the relationship you had with that person. You know, intensity, I mean, it could be good, it could be bad, it could be a lot of things. Just a lot of intensity. And, yeah. So, how do we get this person out of your mind? But in a way that doesn't damage yourself moving forward, and also in a way that it doesn't negatively affect the way you look at that person. Like, it'd be easy to say, that fucking cunt, that fucking bitch, whatever, so on and so forth. We want to do it in a way where how would I describe that? In a way that's peaceful? Would that make sense? Peaceful? But when you're dealing with emotions, I always think when it came to rewiring my brain, due to being bipolar and all this shit that I've been through, I think we're gonna rehash everything, but you know, I had to like a computer programmer writing code. You know, you gotta rewrite code. And I always thought of the emotion as like a virus. So you have to get through this viruses, right? And then you have to find the bad program and then rewrite it. But you want to rewrite that code in a way that doesn't damage yourself. You can't just, oh, there's the problem, and then just fix it. You have to do it in a certain way. And it's even more difficult when you're bipolar because you're dealing with now two separate codes, right? You're dealing with code that's your manic personality, and you're dealing with code that is your non-manic personality. So you have to write two separate pieces of code for the same goddamn problem. So no matter whether you're manic or whether you're non-manic, the code is accepted by both personalities. So it's pretty easy to deal when you're dealing with. It's not easy to rewrite code, but it's a lot easier to rewrite code and rethink things when it comes to philosophies, new ideas, dealing with emotions. That's not a person. When the person is part of your mind, it's almost like, how would I describe that? How the fuck would you describe that? It's really hard to do some of these videos because the person I'm talking about and referring to is very private and doesn't want her life being on social media. I try to explain to her, you know, why I do what I do, but you know, she has her opinions, and so I have to try and respect hers, but at the same time I still have to help myself, right? So there's a fine line here. So how do we do that? How do we do that? The emotion part we can deal with. That's easy, right? It's not easy, but it's easy to reprogram and rationalize. But when they're part of your mind, it's almost like, I don't know, would it be like, would it be like losing an arm? You know, you're always used to having your arm there, and you no longer have the arm there, but it feels like you still have the arm there, right? Now, I've been this woman, I've been separated for a long time, probably 7 years now. It's a long fucking time, okay? But I've only recently discovered that, you know, she's a bigger part of my mind than I ever thought. She was a bigger part of my mind than I realized. How would we explain this? It's easier when I do this in my mind. It's hard to fucking articulate and talk about it. But, you know, what the fuck? Let's try it. You know, we're no longer using the bridge to try and figure things out. We have to come up with new ways, so if you don't know what I mean by the bridge, I ain't gonna go fucking through that. You have to watch my videos to get a better understand what I'm talking about. So it's not something you can simply delete and then rewire. We have to realize what parts of your mind did this person affect, and why is your mind hanging on to that. I'll give you a perfect example. Like I said, I've been with a lot of women since her, and it can be something as simple as a woman touching me. Sure, it feels good when the woman touches me, but it doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel comfortable, or like, I don't know, safety blanket, or I don't know, maybe not a safety blanket. Fuck, it's fucking tough. There's things I could do to better explain it, but it'd be pretty personal, pretty graphic. And I'm not sure if I want to take it that far. I'm trying to find other ways to explain it. But I've mentioned many times about needs. You know, so I think this is more than a rewiring issue. Maybe not. Maybe it's something I can rewire, but I don't think I can rewire it until my needs change. Because this woman I was with fulfilled all my needs, from all aspects, from just the list goes on and on and on. And sure, while other women may come close to that, it's I don't even know how to fucking describe this. It's almost like it's all I know, all I knew. Isn't that a weird thing? Like, there was women before her that I thought I loved, that I had feelings for, and women after her, but it just doesn't. Bottom line is, I have to figure out a way to rewire it, or wait till some of my needs change in order to move forward, right? And you know what's really weird too? You know, especially if I'm manic, I'm all about physical, right? You know, I don't give a fuck about your personal. If you got a hot body, you know, and you look great, you know, all that matters. When I'm manic, of course, and hypersexual, for sure. With her, it's not like that. It's not like that at all. It's all this other stuff besides that. That's almost like a bonus that she looks good, you know, and looks great. It's all the other stuff, and that is very confusing for me, because that's not how when I see a woman, I don't, you know, it's just, you know, it's physical attraction, you know, can she kiss well, can she fuck well, you know, like, it's fucking, but with her, it's just, it's all that trivial shit. And the thing is, the weird thing is, it's been 7 fucking years, you know, it's not a question of, not being over her. She's always been in my heart. It's just these little things that that can't seem to be replaced or duplicated. You know, I talked about the coke thing and everything like that, and it's you know, I thought it was, you know, it was part of that, but it's gone way much deeper than that. You know, it's been thinking about this for a long time now, and then, you know, I actually reached out to a relative, and you know, this is running a lot deeper than I possibly imagined. And to be honest with you, I have no idea how to process this at all. You know, I got enough on my plate just keeping my shit together on a daily basis, you know. No, but I think one of the things that I guess I would admit to myself was, I guess, fuck, it sounds so fucking weird saying this, but it's almost like, I needed to prove to her, that I could change, that I could, become something different. Maybe that's an ego thing. Or is it a love thing? You know, I don't know. Love's a fucked up emotion, you know? But the thing is now I'm at the point where I've achieved so many things that it's almost, I felt like, okay, you know, here I am, you know, come get me, you know, type thing. But realistically, it's broke. It'll probably always be broke. There's some things you can't put together, and I'm realistic about that, and that's okay. You know, what I'm not okay with is why I can't shake loose of the way she cared for me, the way she talked to me, the way she touched me, the way she was patient with me. There's certain things that are just so fucking, they're just etched. They're like burnt in my brain. You know, stupid things like watching her cook. And and the first thing that comes to my mind when I watch her cook is she used to always put one foot on top of another, like this, the way she would stand. She used to do that at work too. Like stupid shit like that, right? And those little things, because I was going through so much shit back then. And I used to count on those little things, I guess, to put a smile on my face, or to, you know, comfort. You know, it was almost like, she was like the safety blanket. She was my little baby safety blanket, you know? I think that's what it is. So I think, what had happened is, part of that hypersexuality and the manic behavior and the drug use was almost like me running back home to her in some kind of a weird way, you know. Yeah, so I think that's part of it. There's like a lot of layers to this, a lot of layers that I have to peel back and analyze, you know, but there's a lot. And it's definitely not a time thing, you know. It's not a time thing. It's going to be, I have to wait until my needs change. And I've gone without sex, you know, I've gone without sex for months, you know, and that didn't change nothing. And then when I did have sex, you know, it never felt right. I wonder if part of the reason why I never had sex after her sober, I wonder if part of the reason is if I felt if I had sex with someone sober that I'd be cheating on her. Oh, and sometimes I think that if that was part of that process. Maybe that was the only way I could be close to her, having sex or being with her, is being high. Maybe that was the only way I could get back to her in my mind, right? Because I certainly couldn't do that sober. I have zero interest in having sex with someone sober. Zero. Because I already know it's not going to be what I want. It's not... I just wouldn't be comfortable. It would have... That's what I'm saying. My needs have to change. I think I have to wait till I evolve some more in the non-manic personality that I'm creating for myself. You know? Yeah, it's a weird one. Definitely a mind job for sure. But interesting as fuck though, from like just there's days where it's frustrating as hell. Fucking, I'm just like, fuck, I'm so sick of dealing with this fucking shit. But sometimes it's like, god damn, that's fucking interesting. You know, it's like, did you talk to people? Like, I've talked to people who've broken up with people and got their hearts broken, you know, and I never heard what I'm trying to describe, you know? Even if I'm describing it right, I don't even know if I'm describing it right. But it's definitely true what they say, you never love the same person the same way. That is definitely a fucking fact. That's definitely a fact. But, you know what I think it is? I think, I don't know how to love any other way. Maybe that's what it is, you know? But then even if she did talk to me and we did tell her that I did see her again, I wouldn't have a fucking clue what to do. Not a fucking clue. Like, if I was manic, you know, I'd do what my manic mind would normally do, but I'm not like that anymore. My self-confidence would be shot to shit dealing with her. I wouldn't have a clue. I wouldn't have a fucking clue. Like, honey, sorry, but you're gonna have to take the reins on this one. Because I'm completely lost. You know? It's like I know her so well, but at the same time, she's a stranger to me. Such a strange fucking feeling. Very strange. It's not a question of like not wanting to fall in love with someone else or wanting to meet someone else. That's I wish I could do that. You know, I'd like to be able to do that. You know, but I don't know. Just the mind doesn't want to accept it. It doesn't want to accept it. It accepts the relationship is over. It accepts the fact that we have to move on. It's just the mind's not accepting what's new, what can be. Because according to my mind, there is nothing better. Like, you know, that's the way, like I said, like a simple thing as a touch, like that doesn't feel right. It doesn't feel right when you touch me like that. You know, or even a kiss, like, and you can't be getting into, it's unfair to get to a fucking relationship. Like, I can get in another relationship and I can fucking really care for this person, but to constantly have this person compared to that person, like, that's fucking bullshit. It's not fair. You don't want to put someone through that fucking mix. It's best to stay about yourself, you know. But at least now we know, like, the last part of our problem, right? We know now, we have an idea of what's going on now, you know? And that's half the fucking battle. Yeah, I'm not sure how we're gonna get past this. Like I said, I've been with other women, you know, and I don't know. I guess, you know, I think it just really comes down to when you're having a relationship that's so intense, like, because our relationship was intense. Like, I mean, intense. I mean, like, perfect way to describe it. It was intense. It was so intense. You know, there was, it was intense. I'm gonna take you through everything, but, you know, like so many other things in my life, my job was intense. You know, my relationship with her was intense. You know, even with the woman I was with before her for 13 years. 13 fucking years I was with her. You know, I had to reanalyze that too. I'm like, what the fuck was that? You know, what was going on there with that? You know, why isn't that, like, I hope she's doing well, but there's nothing in here. There was for a while because I felt guilty because the way I left her. You know, I think it took a long time to forgive myself for that. You know, and that, you know, right from the get-go, and so, you know, right off the bat, it was with her, it was intense right from the get-go. It just, from the minute we hooked up to the minute we fucking split up, that 7 years, it was just intense from day one to day end. There was no fucking let up. It was just intense. So I think that's what it is, you know. Maybe a form of trauma, you know. Not compared to torture, because it wasn't torture, but, you know, when you're, I think you guys know what I'm talking about. You know, I definitely didn't have the ability to start processing something like this a couple years ago, right? The more, the less manic I am, the more that I handle my manic behavior better, and the more I'm better equipped to handling my emotions, the quieter my mind, the more questions I can ask, and, oh, shit. So, of course, this was buried for a while, right? Because like I said, you know, you gotta remember there's a couple personalities running here. So, a lot of times with what my manic mind is thinking and going through, my non-manic mind has no idea. No idea. That is completely clueless. You know, some things I remember, a lot of things that I don't, so. Now those two worlds are coming closer and closer and closer together, right? But I don't think you have to be bipolar to experience what I'm experiencing right now with someone, you know? Should you imagine a couple? I wonder if, like, a marriage, people have been together, like, say, 30, 40 years. You know, one of them dies. But I think it comes down to intensity. I think it comes down to the intensity of the relationship. You know? And I think that's probably why there's so much, I don't know if it's hard to speak for her on how she feels, but I think it was pretty intense for her too, right? You know, and you know, and she's going to deal with it her way, and you know, whichever way that is. One of the ways is definitely by not speaking to me. Yeah, I'm not going to blame her, right? She's got to deal with it the way she's got to deal with it. Just like I have to, right? Usually I cook hamburger for my meals. They had chicken breast on special, so I cooked like 20 pounds of fucking chicken the other day. Holy fuck. I boiled it. Boiled my chicken. It's quicker, keeps it moist. Fucking broiling it in the oven takes fucking forever. So, the question is, how do you get someone out of your mind? I don't think there's a way. I think you have to wait till your needs change. Your personality grows, maybe you mature on different levels. Like there's some things, I'm trying to think of times when I've been with other women that parts of it did seem to be okay. Whether I didn't think of her or compared that moment to her. Boy, let's see. It's hard because I've never been with anyone that I haven't paid with. You know, I've never had a relationship that money wasn't involved. And that was usually, usually once a year, But what we experienced the last couple of months was definitely a different animal, We definitely approached it differently, thought about it differently. Yeah, but, some of you are saying, what the fuck are you paying for sex for? And I've talked about this up 1,000 times. It's not fair to get involved with someone and just fuck them and dump them. I don't do that. It's unfair to the woman to do that. I believe that's really cruel to do that. And in my experience, even though you may talk with each other and be honest about what it actually is, it certainly doesn't stay that way. Someone always gets hurt, so paying for it is the best option. And I've been fortunate to have someone, the same person in my life for over 30 years, that we've made it work, But, that is... that's evolved too, I talked to her and, I won't be seeing her probably ever again. Because now we know why I do the things we do, we know why, why I act the way I act, why I was using cocaine when it came to sex and hypersexuality. We know how all that fit together. And how the woman I was with for 7 years is entangled and webbed into that. You know, it's like, it's almost like, you know, you're doing an operation. You can't just fucking just go in there and take the tumor out, right? You got to make sure they're breathing properly. You got to make sure this is right, and that's right, and this is right, and this is right, before you actually go in there and take the tumor out, right? You just can't just fix it. You got to, there's other things you have to worry about before you tackle that problem, right? So, am I over her in here? Yeah. I'll always love her, you know, but it's not something, that's what I'm saying, that's what I'm talking about. It's the mind thing. It's a totally different thing. And I've just only recently realized that, and I have no idea how to fucking process something like that. You know? Hey, like most of you, so I'm just learning about love and learning about people, just like everybody else, right? We're all just trying to figure this shit out as we go, right? It's just hard for me because I have to do it for like two people almost, right? I have to figure out from my manic perception, and I have to figure it out from my non-manic perception. So it's a little more difficult, Twice as long, twice as hard. That's so funny. I contacted her. It was in January. Her birthday was in March. And I told her how I felt and some stuff. And I should have just said, you know, do you still care? No, but no, I had to make everything all complicated and fucked up and whatever. Screwdriver, this one's coming apart. Ugh. Oh, fuck. Oh, shit. Oh. Tired. I was up early. Got up early to train, then I had to work. I did some errands, then a nap. I'm gonna do our second workout after that. Ugh. I don't know what the answer to that is, guys. It's definitely not a time thing. Like the heart, you know, fades with time. I think it's something you have to change as a person in some way to get past it. I think something about your personality, or maybe one of your philosophy, or some of your needs have to change in order to get over someone in your mind. So we'll have to wait and see what happens, right? So till I see you guys again, take care of yourselves, take care of each other. God bless you all.